Hey guys, so you guys probably been seeing this whole discussion about, Kamala Harris, or rather Trump saying that Kamala Harris, was at one point Indian and now she's black, and everybody's upset at Trump for saying that she's not black, and they're calling him a racist, etc., etc. But my friends, it's interesting. How is the media, how are people able to do this? They're saying that he's spreading false claims, right? They're able to do this because of something called Marxist dialectic. What is Marxist dialectic? What's the idea? I'm going to simplify this for you guys. I'm going to talk to you as if you're, me, my friend Frank and I always say, talk to us as if we're, a potato, as if I'm talking to a potato. Basically, the general idea, and folks can correct me if I'm wrong, folks who are into philosophy, studying philosophy, it's basically when you have you have an idea, and then you bring a completely opposite idea or opposing idea by way of which you can, debating those two things or having those two things in the same space, you can achieve the ultimate truth, the ultimate endness, right? That's like, so to speak, above those ideas, or what they would call it, what a lot of these Marxists like to call the third way. When they had like socialism with a human face in the Soviet Union, this is the third way. It's not capitalism, it's not socialism. And by the way, Marx used to say, when we have those two opposing things, we can achieve communism, which is above all those things, which is like the ideal, right? So, guys, now you take that idea, now you take that concept, right? And you can apply it to anything else that these folks are doing, right? For example, Queers for Palestine, right? How are these people able to have those two ideas or entities in the same space? How are these people able to be allies? Because you have something called, now it's the cultural Marxist dialectic, right? You have the LGBTQ community, the trans community, etc., and then you have Islam, right? Islamists who like go against it, but let's not look at the actual what's called truth on the ground. There's a higher truth, right, where Islam and where this queer world, this queer community coexist, right? Who cares what Islam says, right? We're gonna overlook that. We're gonna bypass that, right, folks? But that they're only able to think in that way, in that convoluted way. It's not even convoluted. It's just completely verkakte, as we say in Yiddish, because of the Marxist dialectic that has now been applied to culture. If that makes any sense, what I'm saying, right? Same thing with just the way they talk, right? Or the way they present themselves to whom they want to present themselves. Kamala Harris, right? Okay, so she's both Jamaican and she is Indian, right? But she's speaking to an Indian audience, and she's like, she starts saying all these Indian terms. Like, there's a video of her making a speech to this like Indian organization, whatever it is, and they're presenting her as the first Indian candidate, and then she goes on one of these cooking shows with this Indian comedian, this lady, and they're both, they're Indian and they're making Indian food and they're saying Indian terms, which is fine, it's fine. But then all of a sudden, now she's running for president, and now she is black, and all these ladies are like, oh, you see. And then there's the mayor of Chicago, oh, Trump just saw blackness. Folks, I mean, we all know that neither Obama nor Kamala Harris are part of what's called the American black experience. His father is an African, his mother is white, and Africans and American blacks are completely different, right? Kamala Harris's father is Jamaican, so, his family owned slaves, and the parents come from all kinds of places in Europe, and her mother is from India. And they're both like, they were part of elitist society, they went to elitist universities, and they what is it called? They were part of like the Black Panthers. That's as closest to the Black America experiences you get. And they only joined that organization because they're both Marxists, right? So she can present herself whenever she wants. Why, folks? Because of what's called the Marxist dialectic thought process. At this point, it's a thought process. It's not even a, regarding necessarily economics or regarding communism or anything like that. It doesn't have to be, right? It could be anything you want it to be, and it could be applied to anything, folks. And this is what they've been pushing in the universities. This is how they've been teaching kids to think, or rather to not be able to think, where reality cannot dare get in the way of ideas that they want at any time that they want, right? Even if it's like, these ideas contradict, or these these cultures, clash, right? They can do whatever they want, whenever they want, and you can't call them out on any logical fallacy. You can't call them out on it. If you do, you're a racist, you're a bigot, you're not tolerant, etc., etc., etc. And this is achieved via this Marxist dialectic, my friends. When you say this wall is white, they say this wall is black, and vice versa. Or it's not white, it's bone, it's beige. They can make anything look like anything, right? If you see that people are, I don't know, for example, at polling stations covering up windows, they can literally write you an article. No, comma, they are not covering up windows. These are not the droids you're looking for, right? They can literally tell you that what you're looking at is not actually what you're looking at, my friends, because they have basically destroyed thinking, the thought process of looking at something objectively. Because when you destroy what's called absolute truth and absolute reality, when you destroy when you take God out of the equation, right? That's also another thing. Then you can't see objective reality. There's no such thing as objective reality. What is it? What does Oprah say? My truth? What do they say today? Right? Or they wrote an article, I remember in New York Times recently, we're in the post-truth era. Everybody's got their truth, my friends. This is all part of the cultural Marxist dialectic. They can do whatever they want, say whatever they want, apply anything they want at any time they want, and you can't say a thing to them. And therefore, chickens for KFC, okay? And all the rest of it. Guys, I'm talking to you as a former Soviet citizen. The interesting part, and I'll end off with this, just something kind of funny or dark humor to me. The Soviet government, right? If they saw anybody, or came across anybody from the LGBTQ space, or let's say even forget about regular LGBT, or LGB, just the trans and all the different people that have all the different gender identities and spirits, right? Like they identify as this, on different days, and different things on different days. Folks, you know what they do to those people? They put them in what's called in Russian a psychushka, a mental hospital. And you know what's funny? The cultural Marxist dialectic in America has gotten to the point, right? Speaking of Marx, Groucho Marx, the comedian Groucho Marx, he had a phrase: "You guys are so close, you'll be behind them. You'll be behind me. You're standing so close to me, you're going to be behind me soon." My friends, they've gotten to the point where they are now running the asylum. The very mental hospital that the Soviet Union would have locked them up in, they are running that mental hospital now. And the Soviet Union can't even dream of this, my friends. They're standing so close to us, they're almost behind us. All right, guys. Shabbat Shalom.